WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. The investigations into two fatal shootings in Monroe County continue. Our Cash Matlock speaks to the sheriff and friends of those involved and joins us live in the studio with more on this story.
That's right, Joey. Well, friends and neighbors say they aren't sure what led Wayne McCallum to shoot his brother-in-law, Jesse Little. They do know that after the shooting, McCallum led police on a car chase from an old home on Old Columbus Road to McDuffie Cemetery Road, where it's believed that McCallum was shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy.
They thought the storm brewing in Monroe County was the worst thing that could happen Thursday afternoon.
I was in the kitchen making a sandwich, actually, and I turned and looking out the window. You just look outside, and that's when I heard the gunshot.
Jesse Little and his wife drove over to Old Columbus Road to use the storm shelter with their friends, but something went horribly wrong.
The next thing I know, I was getting woke up to her at the foot of the couch screaming, "He shot my husband. Wayne shot my husband. My brother killed my husband. He shot him in the head, Adriana. He shot him. I need help. I need help."
There were 10 to 12 children and several adults in the yard and in the house when they say Wayne McCallum shot his brother-in-law.
He was walking around the side of the Jeep, walked up on him probably 5-10 feet from him at the most, and shot him with a rifle. I mean, point blank.
And his friends feared they would be next.
I had my back against my mama's door, and Wayne started beating on it, like fearfully trying to get in there too. Some of us, or all of us, or even just his sister.
My first instinct was to make sure all the kids was in the house and safe, away from him. And that's when I told him, I said, "Wayne, put the gun up, you need to leave." And he said, "No, everything's fine."
But he did leave.
At that time, we got in a pursuit chase with Mr. McCallum. Went several miles trying to get him to stop. Finally, on McDuffie Cemetery Road, we had two seasoned officers that was involved in a situation over there, which MBI is at this point investigating an officer shooting involvement over there on McDuffie Cemetery Road.
Well, his friends say that they had been trying to get Wayne McCallum to see a mental health professional for months. The incident is still under investigation.
A Clay County inmate found dead in his jail cell is identified. Coroner Alvin Carter Jr. says 54-year-old Dale O'Neill of West Point is the man that died. Sheriff Eddie Scott says O'Neill was found in his cell just after 7 this morning, but declined to release any further details. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation will handle the investigation. An autopsy will be performed early next week. In Lowndes County, investigators identify the man found unresponsive in his jail cell. Coroner Greg Merchant says Jefferson Russell Finch died early this morning. Sheriff Mike Arledge says the 26-year-old was found just after 5 p.m. on Thursday. Jail staff immediately started performing CPR and used an AED to attempt to revive Finch. An autopsy will be performed. The MBI is also handling that investigation. When renovating your house, you might expect to find old pictures, family heirlooms, or some childhood toys. But one homeowner and contractor uncovered the shock of a lifetime. Our Riley Livingston joins us in the studio with more on this story.
Joey, this is a story of a secret that goes back more than 50 years. But investigators in Winona believe the real mystery could be even older than that.
Across the street from Winona's high school, a plot straight out of a movie appears to be unfolding. Or,
look over there! I see him! I see him!
A version of the movie Stand By Me. Long forgotten and hidden, a skull is found.
A gentleman was doing renovation work at a house on Fairground Street, and he went under the house to do some work, and when he was under there, that's when he discovered what appeared to be a human skull.
But that's just the beginning of this tale.
It sent everyone into a frenzy around here, and because of what all was posted on Facebook, a gentleman actually seen, what was going around, and we were contacted by this man, and he told us that he actually lived in the house in 1965 and stated that he's actually the one that placed the skull under the house.
But Chief Investigator Dan Herod says they don't believe this was foul play. Back in 1965, a group of boys stumbled upon the skull.
Simply, at the time, some teenagers walking through some woods, they stumbled upon this human skull. So they, I guess at the time, thinking that it was a cool find, they brought it back to the house, and he realized that his mother, probably didn't want that being in the house, so he stated that he put it under the house and kind of just forgot about it.
Over the years, the home changed hands, the boys grew up, and the skull was forgotten.
At first you see something like this, and you think that there's a very good chance that it's not what you think it is. Well, when we were able to determine that in fact is what it was, she was, it's a pretty scary feeling to realize that you own a house and not knowing it, but human remains were under the house the whole time.
The skull is being sent to the Mississippi Crime Lab for testing, but what they do know is that it isn't connected to any missing persons case from Winona.
This skull was found, but it was placed here in 1965, so was it 50 or 60 years ago? So it could be older than that. From our investigation, it did not come from Winona.
Harris says they will be looking into a hole found in the back of the skull. He says it does resemble a bullet, but they won't know until the crime lab has a chance to examine it.
Quite the story there out of Winona. All right, thanks, Riley. And time now to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. He joins us with a very sunny look at our forecast. Keith?
Yeah, Joey, great weather out there today. Temperatures are cooling down into the 50s and low 60s right now. But overall, no complaints here as you venture out this evening. We will eventually cool down into the mid-40s by 11 o'clock. Many of us will get down into the 30s later tonight. A live view in Louisville. Notice some of those high, thin cirrus clouds. No stormy clouds. That's about it for this evening. You notice the rain down towards south. That will stay towards south as we go throughout the course of the night. And for our Saturday, a mix of sun and clouds, upper 50s. The full forecast coming up.
The manslaughter trial against a former Columbus police officer will proceed. Kenyon Boykin's attorneys filed a motion to dismiss. Judge Lee Coleman denied that request this morning in Oxby County Circuit Court. Boykin is accused of shooting and killing Ricky Ball in October 2015 after Ball ran from a traffic stop. The next step will be for attorneys from both sides and Judge Coleman to agree on a trial date, which will be held in Walthall County. Winston County deputies are searching for the person that set 3 vehicles on fire. A Chevrolet Tahoe, a truck, and a Ford Mustang were all burned in the arson. The vehicles were set on fire Wednesday about 10:30 p.m. on Sylvester Hudson Road. Investigators are offering a reward for any information leading to an arrest and conviction. If you have any information, call Winston County Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen. Investigators are trying to determine what sparked an overnight house fire in Tupelo. Firefighters were called to the blaze on Lawndale Drive around 11:30 last night. No one was inside, but the house suffered extensive damage. The blaze was extinguished quickly, and now investigators are looking for clues to find out how it started. Columbus residents are still coming out to support their neighbors after last month's tornado. We find out how when we come back. Volunteers are still hard at work feeding those affected by last month's tornado. If you're looking for a hot meal, some good company, and something to make you smile, this is definitely the place to be. At the intersection of 19th Street North and 7th Avenue, volunteers are feeding folks from noon until 4. Chicken is being grilled on the cooker, corn, and other fixins. Some of these volunteers have been out since the twister hit, and they say they're more than happy to help.
It's been a joy out here to see the people come and enjoy the food and come back the next day and tell us how much they enjoyed it.
I was born and raised on this street in the same area. We played ball out there in the park. I mean, we just trying to give back. So, for everybody who don't know, come get your plate. It's free.
And they'll be out there handing out more meals tomorrow from noon until 4. An iconic Tupelo business is shutting its doors for good after 115 years. Leak and Goodlet Building Supply and Lumber's last day of business is tomorrow. The business has been in the Leak family for 4 generations at the same location on West Main and Tupelo. Leak and Goodlet helped rebuild Tupelo after the deadly tornado of 1936 and was instrumental in building several neighborhoods as the city grew. For Lindsay Leak, the decision to close was a tough one, but he says he's looking forward to the next chapter in his family's life.
Tupelo is a wonderful place to live, still a great business climate. As retail changes, you do have to change with it, and to face it head on and honestly is the only way you can do it.
The famous Medford meteorite is in front of Leak and Goodlet for its final weekend of business. It will be given to the Orrin Dunn Museum.
A little bit below average on Saturday around the region, but no complaints here, no threat of storms. We should be in the upper 50s. Your full 7-day forecast is next. Stay tuned.
Or WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
6:17 on our Friday evening. Some high cirrus clouds spotted at Durham's Pharmacy in Vernon. But aside from that, we don't really have any active weather around here. It's 58 in Tupelo, 55 already in Winona, still holding on to 60 at the Air Force Base. Some higher clouds streaming on in right now. The rain down here to our southwest will stay to our southwest. So that is a positive development. We don't need any more rain around here. Now, we had the storms over the last 2 days in our region. The northern fringe of that, or the northern side of it, whopper of a blizzard, and you can see all of this snowpack visible from outer space earlier this afternoon. So we dodged that, but we couldn't dodge the storms. Now, we have this pattern change developing for the next week or so, a cooler, drier pattern for us. So no threat of storms, no severe weather, nothing like that. For your Saturday, mostly sunny. It's looking pretty good, upper 50s, low 60s on Sunday, 63. The luck of the Irish with us as we get into our St. Patrick's Day with a lot of sunshine. Tonight, scattered high clouds, probably a little bit thicker to our south, and that's where the warmer temperatures can be, upper 30s to around 40, mid-30s to the northwest, probably thinner clouds or lesser cloud cover, so a little bit cooler for you. Your Saturday, we're getting back into the mid-40s by 9, low 50s to mid-50s by noon, upper 50s in the afternoon about 4 o'clock or so. So widespread 50s here, mid to upper 50s, a pretty good bet across our region for our Saturday. You can see with futurecasts as we go throughout the near term, the thicker clouds, the better rain chances to our south. High pressure starts to nudge on in a little bit more so tomorrow. So we will start to push those clouds farther to the south. We'll stay with the northerly breeze, drier weather. It's looking pretty good. The showers stay to our south there too into the Gulf. Sunday, not too bad. There will be another front right there that will approach and move through. That will give us a reinforcing shot of some high pressure for a good chunk of early next week. And then we'll have another little disturbance that will move in sometime Wednesday or Thursday. So that's really the only chance for any rain here over the next 7 days. And even that just 20% Wednesday into Thursday. Here's your AccuWeather 7-day forecast. Now, don't forget, we do have a chance for some low 30s tomorrow night. So there is a patchy frost threat. If you have some tender plants, you may want to cover those up as we dip down into the lower 30s. But we rebound nicely next week, low 60s during the day. Still chilly at night. Again, there could be a little bit of rain around Wednesday and Thursday before we start to moderate by next Friday. Pretty good for the next week, Joey.
All right, thanks, Keith. The Bulldogs breeze by the Aggies to land themselves in the quarterfinals. A live report from Nashville is next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Mississippi State breezing by Texas A&M in the second round of the SEC tournament, and now it's a quick turnaround for the Bulldogs as they prepare to take on Tennessee in the quarterfinals. The last time the two teams met was in Knoxville less than 2 weeks ago and didn't go so well for State. WCBI Sports' Tom Ebel joins us live from Nashville with more on the matchup. Hey, Tom.
That's right, Courtney. The last time these two teams met up, it was a Tennessee second half that sealed the deal. The Vols beating Mississippi State 71-54. It was a close game in the first half back in Knoxville on March 5th, but in the second half, Tennessee riding its big three of Jordan Bone, Grant Williams, and Admiral Schofield to a W. But when the SEC basketball tournament bracket was released, Mississippi State, talked to some of the guys yesterday, they're really looking forward. They had to get past A&M, but they're really looking forward to possibly getting another crack at the top 10 ranked Vols.
We're really looking forward to that game. You know, we want to see Tennessee again. We said that right after we lost because we know we didn't put up our best effort when we went up there. So it's definitely exciting. We're ready for it.
They're a great team overall, you know, but the way we ended that game down there, that's not us really. So for us to get this second chance, you know, we'll be able to show what we're really made of.
Hands down the most physical team in the SEC, and we know they're going to bring it. And last time they got the best of us, but I felt like we didn't play our best game. I feel like we'll come out tomorrow more focused and more ready.
If there's one thing good for Mississippi State in terms of a weird vibe here in Nashville, all the lower seeds have won to this point. Florida upsetting LSU the first game of the day today, and then Auburn taking down South Carolina. Right now inside of Bridgestone Arena, it's 22-11, Kentucky on top of Alabama. That game just starting. But for Mississippi State and Tennessee, tipping off 25 minutes after the Crimson Tide and Kentucky game has wrapped up. So the winner of that game will face either the Bulldogs or the Vols in the semifinals here at the SEC Men's Basketball Tournament. It could be late tonight. Make sure you grab your late night snacks. Maybe grab a cup of coffee to get ready to go. But we'll do all we can to update you at 10 from here in Nashville on what's going on between the Bulldogs and Tennessee. But for now, reporting here outside of Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tom Ebel for WCBI Sports. Courtney, back to you.
Thank you, Tom. I, for one, will definitely need that cup of coffee. Let's look ahead to Selection Show Sunday schedules. And Monday, Ole Miss going to be hosting people at the Pavilion on Sunday at 5 p.m. If you're looking to attend that is open to the public, where hopefully Ole Miss will be selected for the first time to hit the big dance since 2015. The doors do open at 4 p.m. if you're looking to attend that. The Mississippi State women, they will be hosting their own selection show on Monday. That will be at 5:45 p.m. They also open an hour before that. They'll have tons of festivities there. And the Mississippi State men, they're currently a little bit busy, so that's to be determined, but we'll keep you updated on them. Vic Schaefer has done it yet again. ESPNW names the SEC Coach of the Year as its Coach of the Year. The honor marks the 4th national honor for Schaefer. Schaefer just last week led his team to its first SEC tournament championship. The Bulldogs look for its 3rd run at the NCAA Final Four on Monday. SEC play kicking off today. Mississippi State right now playing Florida, currently tied up at 0, and Alabama is at Ole Miss. We'll have highlights for you from both those games coming up later tonight at 10. That's it for sports. The last look at your forecast is coming up next. Stick with us.
WCBI sports coverage of the SEC basketball tournament is brought to you by Wade Incorporated. Bank first, a better way to bank. And visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
Well, Joey, this is the first weekend in about 4 that we have no rain, no severe weather, no nothing.
Thank goodness.
Luck
of the Irish.
Yes, aside from St. Patrick's Day, but you know what? We're going to be loving things here. It could be a little bit of patchy frost tomorrow night, but quiet weather through a good chunk of next week, too. Maybe a spotty shower, too, by Wednesday, Thursday. No major problems foreseen, though.
The sun has been a welcome sight the past couple
A lot of folks have been asking, what is that bright object in the sky? It is the sun.
Time to dry out.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Keith. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Have a good night.